7.5 years, kind of been in a recession. I understand what I can ask for and what I can't, what will be approved and what I can't. But as grants come around, we're all about them. And I look forward to hearing further about what Mr. Meadows has put out. I'm always impressed when he speaks. He's a strong man of God and a strong leader. I'm sorry, I think I upset someone in the front row. Cough there, sorry.
Did anyone else want to speak to that? I have another question. Okay. I think this goes to school officials, maybe the superintendent. What is the protocol in place for notifying parents of threats? If you cannot release this info, is there a general protocol for this?
Again, I'm Janet Mason, superintendent, and I apologize for my voice quality. I've been a little bit under the weather this week, but I wanted to be able to be here tonight. As far as the general protocol around threats, I would say the first protocol would not be when we hear of a threat, we put it on social media before anyone knows if it's a real threat. And I say that because that seems to be in the last few days how word has spread, and sometimes it's been an absolute rumor or something that a student has picked up from somewhere else and shared it when it, the similar sounding school name or a non-specific school threat that could be identified. But as far as when there is a threat, parents would be notified. We dealt recently with calls that were made to the media saying, why haven't we been notified that we're on lockdown at X school? Well, the reason is we were not on lockdown. We didn't have a threat, and there was no need to notify parents. I'm very mindful of the fact, as I think all of my principals are in Rutherford County Schools, and I'm certain at the other schools in our county as well, that to notify a parent midday about something that's not a threat would possibly be terrifying to parents. When we send out a call by school messenger, which is the service that we use, we immediately begin getting calls at our central office, 20 to 30, that will say, what was the message that came? And that's if we're canceling early or dismissing early because of weather. What was that message? I answered and the message didn't play. And we can only imagine if we were calling to say, hey, there are rumors we're on lockdown, but we're not on lockdown, the fear that would strike in parents' hearts. So we're not going to use that service when it's not necessary to use it. And I'm confident that when we have a threat that parents need to know of, we will notify parents. We had a situation where a disciplinary situation with a potential threat was made at one of our schools, and I think the way that it was handled was excellent in that the principal contacted the families using the school messenger after hour. There was never a threat as far as we knew, and had investigated on campus at the time that the students were in school. And so there's no need to alarm parents midday, but to try to provide that information before students return. I started off by saying, let's not use social media to share that we think there's a threat. And I say that with all seriousness now at this point. I've been in our schools in the last few weeks talking to student body presidents and senior class officers from each class. And one of the things we've talked about is that students almost joked about the fact that, we talked about how would you report a threat? How would you make law enforcement aware of it? Or how would you make your principal aware of it? And certainly in that room, I had some very articulate folks, but we also know that for a lot of kids, they hear something and they put it on social media, which just adds to the panic. And what we've really been dealing with recently are kids who don't intend any harm, students who in fact intend something to be a joke. And we've worked really hard to get the message out that there is absolutely nothing funny. There is nothing to be joked about harming your classmates or harming your teachers or anyone on school campus. I do think that in this day and time, that our children have grown up in a different environment. My conversations with them over the last 10 days have led me to realize something that I probably didn't fully appreciate. And that is that they've grown up bathed in the message around school violence in a way that you and I did not. I sat this past week with Holly and some of her co-leaders in student government, and I did the same thing at Central and Chase and the Rock, and I have a meeting scheduled with the students from REACH coming up for this week. But I don't know why I didn't realize it before, but I was thinking about being in that school where I myself had been a student and listening to the concerns that they shared with me and realizing that in 1979, 80, I'll give the years Alan Carver's looking at me back there. The worst thing that I thought about was, would I not make cheerleading? Did I have a boyfriend problem? Was my best friend mad at me? Did I have my paper due on time? I don't know that I ever sat in class and worried for my own safety or for those around me. And what has just been absolutely eye-opening for me, not that I didn't think that they would think about it, but that I didn't truly understand how frequently they think about it. I do think that in some way this dark humor about shoot up a school, it's not funny to us, and we know it's not. But I think there's some level of where kids have been dealing with this for so long that some of them are turning to humor as a way to handle the pressure of existing in that environment. And we're working really hard to make sure that they understand that there will be serious disciplinary consequences. Back to the original question regarding a threat. We take each threat seriously. We will notify parents as appropriate, but we are treating each threat as if it's indeed someone who actually intended to do it until we are proven that they didn't intend to do it. There will be disciplinary consequences, law enforcement referrals, and that would be potentially charges if the district attorney and the law enforcement folks believe that's appropriate. But the other thing that we're requiring is a comprehensive clinical assessment, a mental health assessment, and a threat assessment done by qualified mental health professionals before there's even any consideration of returning a student to the traditional school environment or to the alternative school environment or to any school environment.